Alright, so welcome back to Dominion Hinterlands. We're going to be going over what's in the box for Dominion Hinterlands. Now, Dominion Hinterlands was the very first expansion I bought for Dominion. I never got around to buying Intrigue, and Seaside was actually the last expansion I bought, well, before Nocturne anyway. So, obviously, I liked Dominion Hinterlands a lot. I didn't just choose it because it looked cool. I liked the aspect of the cards. I liked that this expansion had 3 reaction cards. That was pretty cool. Normally, there'd only be 1 or 2 reaction cards, but this one had 3, and they were all really cool and unique, you know. Another thing that was really cool about this expansion is it also had 3 victory cards. One of them, well, 2 of them aren't the best, but they're okay. Some of them, it's okay. And then it also had 3 new treasure cards as well. And one of those treasure cards is exceptional. It's definitely one of my favorite cards for more reason than one. And it's still one of my most favorite expansions. This is sort of like in the middle for expansions. I've already chosen Dominion Menagerie as my most favorite expansion for a lot of reasons. I've looked at all the cards online and everything, and I still think it's the best expansion, even though I haven't really played it yet except for Dominion Online. Now, my second most favorite expansion is Adventures. My third most favorite expansion is Cornucopia. Yes, Cornucopia, small expansion, but it's my third favorite. My fourth favorite expansion is Dark Ages, followed by Empires, and then Renaissance would be right after Empires, and then it's this expansion here, Hinterlands. So Hinterlands is like right in the middle of all the expansions. I like it more than Alchemy. I like it more than Intrigue. I like it more than Nocturne. I like it more than Prosperity. I like it more than Guilds. I like it more than Seaside. So that's like 6 expansions right there that I like this more than those 6. So that means that, I like this expansion a lot. Now, we won't go over every single card in this expansion, but we'll go over most of them, for sure. Alright, so let's get started. First of all, we have 3 cards here that cost 2 each. And the first one is Crossroads here. Reveal your hand plus 1 card per victory card revealed. If this is the first time you played Crossroads this turn, plus 3 actions. So it gives you 3 actions the first time you play it, and then afterwards, you don't get any more actions with this card. So that's kind of cool that you get 3, though. And then you could get an extra card or 2 if you have a couple of victory cards in your hand when you reveal it. So that's pretty cool. Then we have the Duchess. Now, this isn't the most useful card on the block, and it certainly isn't, but we'll bring it up because it has a cool function as a gain. Not that you necessarily will still gain it anyway. So you get 2 treasure, and then each player, including you, looks at the top card of his deck and discards it or puts it back. In games using this, when you gain a duchy, you may gain a duchess. So that's kind of cool, but like I said, not super useful. There have been times, though, when I did gain the Duchess, thanks to buying a duchy, but I don't usually go out of my way of purchasing it. Alright, so then we have the Fool's Gold, and this is actually a pretty cool treasure reaction. So if this is the first time you played a Fool's Gold this turn, it's only worth a copper. Oh well. But if you have 2 of these in play, so the second time you play this, otherwise it's worth 4. So the first time you play a Fool's Gold, it's going to be worth 1. If you play a Fool's Gold a second time in the same turn, now that one is worth 4. So now you've got 5 money for 2 Fool's Golds. If you have 3 Fool's Golds in your hand, and you play 3 of them, you're going to get 1 plus 4, so that's 5, plus another 4. That's 9 treasure. So that is powerful. Very cool. And then, as a reaction, when another player gains a province, you may trash this from your hand. If you do, you gain a gold, putting it onto your deck. That is really cool. That is definitely worth doing. Trashing a Fool's Gold to get a deck that goes to the top of your deck, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So, that's one of the really good cards in this expansion. And Crossroads is pretty useful at times as well. Now let's move on to the 3 costing cards. Some of them anyway, if not all. So first we have the Monkey. Now I replaced a card called Oracle. I didn't have anything wrong with Oracle. I didn't have any beef against it. But when I saw the box, I was expecting to have Monkey in the game because of that monkey there on the box. And so when I found out there was no monkey in the game, I decided to replace one of the cards. And I chose Oracle because the Oracle was an attack card already, and it just kind of made a little bit more sense with Monkey than it would have with another card, like, I don't know, Develop or something like that, or Oasis or something like that. So we went with Monkey for the replacing Oracle. And so here we go. Each player, including you, reveals the top 2 cards of his deck. You choose one, either discard that, so you can either choose one, either discard it, or put it back on top of the deck. So either they discard them, or they put them back on top of their deck. You choose. So that's kind of cool. And then you get 2 cards yourself. Obviously, the 2 cards were up there and not below here. But, you know, when you're doing your own cards, sometimes you have to move things around to make space, obviously. But you choose one, either discard them or put them back on top of their deck. So you get to choose what they're doing with those 2 cards. So that's pretty cool. Useful attack card at times. Then we have Tunnel. This is probably one of the coolest cards in the expansion. It's a victory reaction, so it's worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. And then when you discard this, other than during a cleanup phase, you may reveal it. If you do, you gain a gold. Now, normally, when somebody attacks you and you have Moat, you just block it. This one doesn't block it, but you get a gold every time they decide to attack you. Like, oh, sure, attack me with the Margrave. I'm going to gain a gold in the process because I'm going to reveal and discard this in the process and gain a gold. Yeah, I'll totally do that. For sure. Awesome card. Definitely worth it. Definitely. So I think that's even better than Moat, just because it's worth victory points at the end of the game, and every time they attack you, you gain a gold. So that is awesome. Then we have the Oasis. This is another really good card. Get a card, get an action, get a treasure, and then you discard a card. These 2 work really well together. If you discard a tunnel, you can reveal the tunnel as you're discarding it and gain a gold that way as well, because you get to gain golds when you reveal it, other than during a cleanup phase. So it doesn't matter when the tunnel is discarded, as long as it's not discarded during your cleanup phase, you're going to get a gold every time. So if there are other cards that make you discard cards, and you're going to discard tunnel that way, that's another use for it too. So it's not just useful against an attack, it's also useful with your other cards as well if you're going to discard cards. So that's really cool. That's a really cool card. So those 2 cards work really well together. And we've got some more 3 costing cards, 2 more in fact. First we have the Develop, and I'm not going to go over that one. Then we have Scheme. You get a card, you get an action. At the start of the cleanup this turn, you may choose an action card you have in play. If you discard it from play this turn, put it on top of your deck. So Scheme is kind of cool. You're scheming around, and you get to put action cards back on top of your deck, maybe even this if you want to. So that's pretty cool, getting to play. If you have a lot of schemes and you have a lot of other action cards that you're able to play as well as scheme, you could potentially scheme a lot of cards, putting them on top of your deck for your next turn. That's really cool, and it's definitely one of my favorite cards in this expansion. Alright, so that's it for the 3 costing cards. Let's see if we can do a few 4s before we end this video, because I think we should do this in 2 videos. Alright, because we're not going to go over them all anyway. So first we have the Spice Merchant. We won't go over that one, but we will go over this one. It's not my favorite card, but because it's Jack of all trades, it does a lot of stuff. So you gain a silver. Then you'll look at the top card of your deck, discard it, or put it back. Then you draw until you have 5 cards in hand. That's kind of useful in a way, doing that before this. If you look at the top card of your deck and it's a victory card, you're discarding it, and then you won't have to worry about that being one of the cards you draw. So that's kind of cool. And then you may trash a card from your hand that is not a treasure. So if you got a lot of pesky wastelands or curses, you can use Jack of all trades to trash it, but you can't use Jack of all trades to trash copper. So that's something to note. Then we have Nomad Camp. And this is also one of my most favorite cards in this expansion. This changes the way you play the first 2 turns, unless you have 2 and 5 money or something, or unless you had 3 money first. If you have 4 money on your first turn and you buy the Nomad Camp, when you gain this, put it on top of your deck. So if this is the beginning of the game and you started with 4 money for your first turn and you bought this card, it's going to go to the top of your deck. That means the next turn you're going to have 3 money, but you're going to play this card. It's going to give you another buy, and it's going to give you +2 money. So you're going to be able to buy a 5 costing card on your next turn. That is cool. Very cool. And if you gained, if the second turn was 4 and your first turn was 3 money, then on your next turn, you're guaranteed to have an action card in play to play with. That is cool. All right, so we will go over the rest of the cards in the next video.